My next patron question is from Ms. Zombie Blaster, who wanted to know about a decision that the Disney theme parks often make. Why do you think that Disney changed the character costumes for Jasmine at the parks? Was it because they wanted to reflect Arabian culture more accurately, out of concern regarding unwanted sexual advances towards the cast members, or a combination of both? Could there have been another reason altogether for the costume change? Like the question said, they have changed the costumes at the Disney parks, which is something that sometimes happens, often for the benefit of the cast member playing the role. With Jasmine, Disney was probably thinking of modesty when they decided to change her outfit and remove her famous bare midriff. And there probably were immature teenagers and adults ogling Jasmine because of how she's dressed, which Disney likely would not want. Discussions regarding whether Jasmine should have the bare midriff or not actually go back to the production of Aladdin. In the audio commentary, directors Ron Clements and John Musker and co-producer Amy Pell bring up that there were disagreements between them over whether to have Jasmine dressed like that, and in the end the midriff won out. When Disney produced the live-action remake, none of Jasmine's clothes in the film have that. However, her blue dress, which she wears in the Whole New World scene, does still include a visual nod to the midriff. Jasmine is not the only character from the movie to be given a new look at the parks. While Aladdin would traditionally appear in his street clothes, he is now more likely to appear in his Prince Ali attire. Regarding whether this is meant to provide a more accurate representation of how an Arabian woman would dress during the time Aladdin is set, that is possible, though as someone with little knowledge of Arabian history, I cannot speak to the accuracy. Although it should be noted the story of Aladdin that we most know of actually came from a Frenchman translating a Syrian storyteller, so we're already dealing with a tale whose origin is a mixture of cultural inspirations, and that continues to be reflected in the Disney versions. Need I remind you that Agrabah is not a real place, with the filmmakers borrowing from Egypt, Iraq, India, and other places when making the animated film. Jasmine is not the only Disney character to get an entirely new outfit in recent years. Mulan got a new costume not too long ago, which mostly involved some tweaks here and there. I think the idea with Mulan was to give her something more accurately Chinese, but again, I can't comment on how correct the dress is. Even more drastic was Pocahontas' look. Before, she wore a costume that looked exactly like the one from the animated film. The new Pocahontas look appears to be going for more natural colors and something a Powhatan would wear during the early 1600s. Pocahontas has always been a tricky movie within the Disney animated canon because it's based on a real person rather than a fictional character. So in a way, it's unusual to have someone dressing up and pretending to be her in the parks among all the fantasy characters. That movie was hardly historically accurate either. So I can understand the people responsible for the outfits worn by the meet and greet characters wanting to give Pocahontas one that looks more like something she would have actually worn, but I'll leave how close they got to the historians. You also have to consider the high likelihood characters like Mulan and Pocahontas will be walking around in World Showcase at Epcot. Disney has always prided itself on making the sections of World Showcase match the respective countries as much as possible. Disney even hires citizens from those actual countries to work there. So if they have Mulan walking about at the China Pavilion or Pocahontas near the American Adventure attraction, it makes sense to have them dress more accurately. Jasmine is often seen at the Morocco Pavilion, which goes back to what I was saying about the filmmakers taking inspiration from multiple places when making Aladdin. The truth is Disney is always thinking of ways to change and alter the meet and greet characters, for both the benefit of the guests coming to see them and for the cast members who have to play these roles and wear those costumes. Have you ever seen what Mickey Mouse looked like when Disneyland first opened in 1955? Pretty horrifying, right? It all goes back to Walt Disney's original intentions, to have the park constantly evolve to reflect a changing public and making sure they have the best experience possible. Jasmine's costume change, along with Pocahontas and Mulan, was probably the result of multiple reasons and decisions that went through the department responsible for how they dressed. At the end of the day, as long as the cast member playing the role is comfortable and the guests are still happy to see the character in person, that's what matters the most. Thank you for your question, Ms. Zombie Blaster.